expert on transitioning. This is point number 5. Here's the thing. Whether you choose it or whether it is thrust upon you, at some point in your career, you are going to have to transition. You may spend your entire career at Save the Children, but things are still going to change, right? How many of you are in a new role within the last 12 months? That's a fair number. And what about up there? Okay. Also a fair number. Okay. And my understanding is, of course, we've now announced we're going to get a new CEO, right? And what's going to come with the new CEO? Probably change, right? Not because Carolyn was not absolutely fabulous, because I love her and she was fabulous, but because every leader you pick a leader based on what the organization needs at that point. And most leaders today are not just trying to replicate what their successor did, right? So by definition, you're going to get change. Here's the other thing. Even if your organization doesn't change or whatever, your life is going to change, right? You're going to get married, you're going to have kids, you're going to lose somebody, whatever those changes may be, right? It's going to change. So the bottom line is, like it or not, status quo is just biologically not possible, right? The world does not live that way. Nature doesn't do that, and neither do we, and neither do organizations. So the first thing you need to do is reclarify the day you walk in or within that first week. Get clear, because you may think you know why you were hired, but you want to hear it and you want to actually make them say it to you, because you want to write it down and then you want to have it in writing to agree. This is what I am trying to achieve, okay? So we know, based on an outcome, okay? There may be process and all activity stuff there too, but you're driving towards an outcome. Second thing is, I want you to then do, whether you call it a listening tour or whatever, right? I really believe in listening tours. And it's not just, no matter where you are in the hierarchy. I know the lower you are, the more action-oriented you need to be, and the more you need to just deliver activity, because you are not being paid yet to be the great strategic thinker. But I think it's still really, really important that you do a listening tour. You want to check in with all the people around you that really matter, these key stakeholders, and confirm with them, is this what you think the most important thing we can deliver for? What advice ask for help. What advice do you have for me on how we might go about this? Talk to the person who had the job before you if this job existed. What worked well? What didn't work well? What did they do? All these kinds of things. Go on a listening tour. Get feedback, right? Understand the input. Think about and engage with the people who you're going to be working with on the issue you're going to be working with. Okay, the next thing, oh, and by the way, you're going to ask a lot of questions, right? This is where, and there is no dumb question. Keep asking questions. The single most value I brought to Russia, Asia, and other places where I did not have experience and expertise in those markets or with those products was to ask the obvious questions. And everybody would go, oh, you're right. We never thought about that, right? And you're like, how could you not have thought about that? But you didn't say that to the client. You just said, well, maybe if we thought about it this way, or maybe we should think about this or whatever, right? Outside perspective is really valuable. And you will see things, because you're not mired in the details, you will see things that others don't. 6 months into the job, it's too late to ask all those questions, because now you actually are way too in the detail. Now you already know all the answers to the questions, right? So if you really want profound change, if you really want to make a difference, then the best time to ask all those questions is early on. Okay, next thing you need to do is if you're senior, it's about setting the vision and the strategy. Okay, we know where we're trying to get to. You've listened, you've learned. Now you need to set the vision and the strategy, and then you need to make sure you have the team and the other resources to actually make it happen. If you do not, then you should be revisiting the outcome you've agreed with your boss, either the time frame or the size of the prize. Because if you truly don't have the team and the resources, and you know this, then you want to right size, or you want to make sure that you sequence in a way that you can still get there, and you want them on board with how long that may take. Okay? And then the very last advice I give, and people always talk about it as quick wins, right? So there's two things. One, you want to have a quick win in the first 6 weeks in a new job. That could be as simple as, like, when I got to one of my new positions, my admin was complaining that she hadn't been able to get a new computer for, donkey's years, and her software didn't, communicate well with the CEOs or whatever. And I'm like, are you kidding? You're running my calendar, and I report to the CEO. First thing I did, call the IT department. Excuse me, we need a new computer, and we needed it yesterday, right? So it was a teeny thing, but I got her a new computer, right? A new computer with all the software and everything that worked. And it was like, suddenly I'm the hero. Right? It can be small, but within 6 weeks, with the team you're directly interfacing with or something, you want some visible quick win. You want people on your side, and you want them to see that suddenly their life is better because you're holding the job, okay? It's all about human behavior. It's all about winning people over. Then 6 months into the role, because in 6 weeks, you can't accomplish much, right? Let's be honest. Particularly you're on this listening tour, whatever else, you have to be realistic. But 6 months, you should actually then achieve something for the organization. Again, it can be partway towards your outcome. I'm not saying it's everything, no. But it is something significant that, again, the whole point is this wouldn't have happened if I wasn't in this job. Because when you think about getting promoted, when you think about your performance discussion, when you think about any of these things, what you need to point out is the stuff that you helped make happen, that wasn't happening before, and that actually matters to the organization. It doesn't matter if you accomplish 10 things, but the 10 things you accomplish are not the ones that the organization really desperately needs you to accomplish, which is why I go back to confirm with your boss and the team, the senior leaders, what you were hired to do, okay? If you do those things, then you will be ready, and you can transition again and again and again. And believe me, I think I was trying to calculate the other day. I think I changed jobs about every 18 months. I changed continents about every 3 years, and I changed companies at least, 10 times. So I've done a lot of transitioning. In fact, if there's one thing I'm probably really, really an expert at, and this is my 26th house move, which is also a transition, by the way, let's be clear, right? 26th time I have packed up all my possessions and moved to another destination. Sometimes in the same city, it could be, I'm counting every one of those moves, right? Every college apartment, whatever else, I'm talking everything, but it's 26. I am the world's queen of packing, right? So if you ever need that skill, just let me know.